it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold a candlelight vigil for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be the faceless in between. Because I know you can handle it. To face the truth of the matter, it's still so much better to leave the light than drag it to your grave. Because you see what to make of this, how you can turn your own tables and work this, and take advantage of your failure like you planned to anyway. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold a candlelight vigil for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be the faceless in between. You're still alive, but you've been dead inside for a long time. And I understand why, but you did this to yourself. You did this to them.
This program is a collaboration of personal opinions and individual free thought. It does not represent the views or narrative of the mainstream corporate media hacks. Viewer discretion is advised.
And here we go.
Live from the bell tower, taking a stand for your rights, your liberties, and all the bullshit in between. You're listening to Break the Bell Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, happy weekend. Welcome to the weekend edition of the Break the Bell Podcast.
Hello, beautiful bell breakers. It is good to be back.
You know who we are, hopefully, by now. If not,
Yes.
we're us.
We are
And
us.
this is
And
the Break
you
the
are
Bell
they?
Podcast. What's that?
It said, and they are they.
They are they, we are us, and we are doing the things that we always do. And if you like it, great. If you don't, why the fuck are you here? But stick around. Stick around because it's always a fun time. We've got some interesting stories to cover from this week. That's what the weekend wrap-up is all about. It's us to cover all the shitty stories that have happened during the week. Because Monday nights we have like a dig deep type topical episode where, like last week, for example, we talked about the Biden files, the top secret Biden files found at his residence and his former offices and stuff, and all the bullshit that surrounded that. And we took a pretty extensive dive into that. We covered Hunter Biden crack theories and all kinds of crazy shit. So then on the weekends, we decided to, a year and a half, 2 years ago, to do a second episode where we could talk about everything else, because there's so much that goes on during the week, and it's just like, well, we can't get through all that in one episode and still really dig deep into an episode.
And a lot of it is stuff you probably haven't heard of.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, maybe you have, but I bet you haven't heard it from the spin that we take on things,
Right.
because we always like to put our own twist on things and make every shitty story a little more enjoyable for us insane people.
That's right.
Us people that enjoy the insanity. So how y'all doing out there? It is Sunday night. I've got some ribs cooking on the smoker, so
Nice.
we got to make this. We got to push through this quickly because I don't
Nobody
want to
wants
burn
burnt ribs.
No, nobody likes burnt ribs, but I don't burn ribs even when
Yeah.
I'm podcasting. So you don't got to worry about that. Oh God, I do choke on my coffee during a podcast, though. Holy shit! I was trying to be all smooth and take a sip of my
Right,
coffee,
and did not go well.
No, dramatic pause as I like spit coffee all over the freaking monitors here. So before we obviously get into this, we gotta mention, check us out all over the social medias, because that's how we kind of beat the algorithms that are set up is the more likes, the more subscribes, the more shares, all that fun stuff we tell you to do. Yes, we enjoy that for our egos, but it also allows us to kind of manipulate the algorithms and get our names out there in front of more and more people. So if you could, please like, subscribe, and share. The button somewhere around here, there's like 3 of those buttons, and hit all of them all at the same time. Just mash your hand against it. Just smash it, and then we'll be happy. The algorithms will be like, will melt, and maybe we'll reach 1 or 2 more people. So do that. You can check us out all over social medias at our handle, which is at Break the Bell Pod. We are on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And I like to hang out most on Twitter because it's more fun to drag in the public that you can't drag in on, because Facebook kind of only gets so far to people that don't know you. But you can go and you could do so much more trolling on Twitter. I found you can just scroll through and find some dumbass that's saying something stupid and just troll them and just leave.
Just jump in there and just mix it up.
Yeah, just watch his brain melt and you just leave. You're like, I'm gone. So I like to hang out on Twitter. Again, that's the handle at Break the Bell Pod. His handle is at Bill Filter 3 because he is not Bill Filter the third. So I'm
not sure why it gave me the 3. I don't know.
I think you forgot what you were.
Probably.
It
happens often.
You're probably drunk that night. So come hang out with us. It's a blast. And then you can share and like and subscribe as you do. You can find links to all of our stuff and everything we do at our website, which is www.breakthebellpod.com. You can find links to our our social medias. You can find links to our web store, have access to amazing merchandise such as these, like the I Won't Eat Your Bug shirt, the We Are Not Your Pawns shirt, and some logo stuff, some other t-shirt designs, all kinds of stuff to say, hey, we're different from the rest of you. We're better than the rest of you. So, because we wear awesome merch like this. So check it out. If you want to be better than everyone else, buy our merch and wear it proudly to say we're better than you.
Absolutely. And it's great for starting conversations.
It is, specifically started out as if somebody's like, hey, why are you wearing that shirt? First of all, you say, well, first and foremost, because I'm better than you. Second of all, because I don't want you to eat bugs like everybody, like the elites want you to eat. So check out our store, which, like I said, the links are at breakthebellpod.com, or you can find it at breakthebell.bigcartel.com. Buy our shit and be better than everyone else. I think that does it for this pre-show banter.
Yeah.
I feel like we're ready to get into the stories because there's plenty of them.
Yes.
So let's get right into
Let's do it.
We got some sex allegations, some trafficking allegations, some more Biden allegations. We got all kinds of stuff. Another mass shooting. I mean, it's just a typical week in America.
And the expelling of Satan from a politician's home.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, typical week in America. Right? Let's start out, though. Let's start with these Antifa riots going on.
They've been quiet relatively
they have.
last couple of years.
I thought when Trump stepped down, I thought Antifa just kind of dissolved.
So too,
with them. But apparently they're still in Atlanta, at least, because a protest in Atlanta turned fiery into fiery riots.
Like literal fiery?
I don't know, because do you remember back in the summer 2020, it was like mostly peaceful riots with a little bit of fire.
Yeah, right. Little firebombing here.
A little bit of arson and a couple murders and mass beatings, but mostly peaceful.
Sure.
So I don't know if that's how they're wording it still to this day, but this one is considered a fiery riot in Atlanta. So this is from Zero Hedge. It says, a protest in downtown Atlanta over a police shooting turned into a riot on Saturday night. Wow. Haven't heard one of those in a while.
I know. They haven't really talked about police shootings. They've talked about like police, like fuckings, but not shootings.
Yeah. I feel like the police need to do, like, maybe that's the problem. They fire the ones that all they just want to do is just have a good old fashioned office orgy and then when they break that up, they're just like all disgruntled and all like.
That's true. There's no shootings at that office.
Right.
Right.
Have you had any heard of any shootings by that one chick that got a train ran on her?
Yeah, or the 6 guys that she was training with.
All that pent up aggression. Now that they're
whole new meaning to training day.
Yes. Normalize police fuckings, not police shootings. That's my motto.
I like it. That should be a T-shirt.
A protest in Atlanta over a police shooting turned into a riot Saturday night as hooligans. They
Wow.
actually uttered the
Who
phrase
says hooligans?
hooligans. I don't know. This is Zero Hedge. I thought I held them to a
Wow.
higher standard.
Yes.
I didn't feel they were in the boomer.
Are they looking
end.
for the whippersnappers now?
I don't know. We've caught 3 hooligans, and there are still 6 whippersnappers on the loose.
Oh.
As hooligans attacked the office tower home to Atlantic Police Foundation, damaged other structures, and torched a police vehicle. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens told reporters police arrested 6 people, 6 hooligans, and some of the ones arrested had explosives. Now, define explosives. Was it fireworks?
Right. We've heard that term explosives
Yes,
before.
we heard about that when we had Brandon Caserta from the Gretchen Whitmer plot. He said, yeah, they were like
fireworks that were kind of
modified fireworks. There you go. The mayhem along famed Peachtree Street in the heart of Atlanta's hotel district and right next to the Ritz-Carlton sent tourists scattering for safety. Antifa insurrection in Atlanta tonight over a new police training facility. Apparently they're calling this Cop City because there's this new police training facility going up in the area, and there's been all kinds of like protests and stuff surrounding it because of this Cop City that they're calling it. So I think that has some to do with it too, as well as probably a police shooting too. 6 were arrested, and police say they confiscated explosive devices, though it's not clear if that's a melodramatic description of fireworks. There you go. So, I mean, they're on the same page as us. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens confirmed explosives were used in the attack. He also said that many of those arrested don't even live in Atlanta or in the state of Georgia, and they don't represent the voices of Atlanta. Excuse me. Let's see. An Antifa loser screaming and crying as they get mopped up by police for rioting. So these are video clips. I'm not going to click on them.
Yeah.
The violence capped a protest march along the street as demonstrators railed against Wednesday's fatal police shooting of a protester who was, among others, trying to prevent the construction of an 85-acre, $90 million police and fire training facility. 85-acre police training facility.
Wow, that's huge. They must practice like manhunts and
no wonder why they call it Cop City. That's
right? That's like a couple of city blocks.
Yes. On the city's south side, which protesters have dubbed Cop City. Police say the protester refused to exit a tent on the wooden property where the facility is to be built, and then shot a Georgia State patrol trooper with a 9mm Smith & Wesson M&P shield.
That will get you shot.
I'm
just throwing that out there.
I mean, that might get you shot by a police officer if you shoot a police officer. I mean, there's a lot of instances where I'm like, they probably didn't deserve to get shot. That police officer was probably a scumbag and should have stuck to running trains on themselves. But in this situation, when you shoot a police officer, self-defense it doesn't matter if it was a police officer. Self-defense mindset says you might get shot back.
At least once. Says
the trooper was hit in the abdomen but lived. Activists challenged the police account and characterized the killing as murder. So, I mean, who knows? The story might not be true, might be true. Who really knows? Right. You're taking the police officer's word versus somebody who's dead now.
Right. Yeah. So, but fact of the matter is, cop was shot, protester shot.
Now, what if the cop shot himself in the abdomen accidentally?
I've seen that in a movie before.
I've seen it. It's probably happened plenty in real life. The slain protester was 26-year-old Manuel Esteban Paez Terran, who is known among the Stop Cop City movement by the name Tortuguita. Is that like tiny tortoise in Spanish? Because I know tortuga is
it? Okay, maybe
tortoise
it is.
or turtle. Tortuguita, wouldn't that be tiny or like cute little tortoise?
So it sounds like little turtle or something like that.
Associated Press. The only reason why I know tortuga is Spanish for tortoise is because I've been rewatching Breaking Bad. So and there's the it's the DEA has an informant in the cartels, and he calls himself Tortuga because he gets shit done when he went on his own time. And they end up like chopping off his head and strapping it to a tortoise that's like crawling across the desert. It's poetic irony at its finest.
Yes.
So it says the Associated Press helpfully tells us that Tehran was a non-binary person and used they/it pronouns. I'm guessing the helpfully was
to
sarcastically
say, hey,
there because
right.
who fucking cares at this point?
Yeah.
He was among many others in approximately 25 campsites. So, says in clearing the occupiers, police say they seized mortar-style fireworks, multiple edged weapons, pellet rifles, gas masks, and a blowtorch. Man, these guys are doing it fucking
no doubt.
right.
Blowtorch.
Like I mean, if you're
That's
showing
next
up,
level.
if you're showing up to a violent protest, bring the blowtorch. I'm not saying I'm not condoning that. I'm saying if you're gonna do it, commit, like fully commit. Don't show up with like freaking I don't know, like. What do the kids? Yeah, what do the kids bring these days?
Like Molotov cocktails.
Well, you hear them like throwing rocks and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like,
that's kind of boring. Skateboards,
gas masks,
right?
blow torches. These guys were serious.
Yeah.
These guys.
Yeah. Don't bring skateboards. Bring a blowtorch.
7 people were arrested and charged with domestic terrorism and criminal trespass. Notably, not a single one of them is a Georgia resident. Again, I mean that just kind of happens. We don't need to get into all of this. The fact of the matter is, they're protesting this 85-acre cop city.
Yeah.
Somebody who happens to be non-binary may or may not have shot a police officer. Most likely got shot and killed by the police officer. And now there's riots ensuing because of the. I mean, it's just it's spiraling out of control.
They brought fireworks. They brought blowtorches.
All this to say, do not, if you're going on vacation, don't go to Atlanta.
Don't go to. Does anybody go to Atlanta anyways for vacation?
I don't know if they do anymore, but I don't know. It seems like a typical like rewind to 2020, but I don't think it's going to get the publicity that 2020 got because Trump is not running for re-election right now.
But I'm wondering if this is, is Antifa starting to poke its head out? Are they starting to, kind of come out to the public again since they've been quiet for the last couple of years?
What's really interesting to me is they got charged with domestic terrorism.
Yeah.
Like during the Trump days,
that's true.
It was like peace, love, and harmony, like love fest with a little bit of firebombing and so a couple of shootings and stuff like that. But they never, like, if you uttered like, what don't you consider those domestic? They are fighting for their rights. This is freedom of speech. You insensitive asshole! How dare you? But now in this case, now that the other guy's in charge. Oh yeah, that's domestic terrorism.
Right. And people are like, yeah, you know what? It kind of is. We're with you on that one.
Yeah. So let's move on because I mean, there's not much else to say about that. But look forward to those. Maybe we'll have a nice summer of 2023 to look forward to.
Fingers crossed.
They're starting early, I guess. Speaking of shooting and go figure, another one, another mass shooting. Not to be insensitive about it, but it's kind of hard. Like we're being desensitized to these things, and I think it's
But what would you like the official definition of mass shooting is more than one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I would say this one is definitely a mass shooting.
Yeah, 10 people dead.
Yeah,
I
would say more than 5 is a mass.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah, because it says at least 10 people are dead and another 10 hospitalized after a mass shooting in Monterey Park, California, Saturday night, according to LA County Sheriff's Department. The attack happened at a dance studio near Lunar New Year festival celebration. So that's like Asia New Year's, like Chinese New Year's, pretty much. And so initially I'd seen that they were calling this like racism or white supremacy or like a racially motivated attack.
Because they had all those Asian hate crimes a couple years back, right?
Yeah. Well, it has come out today that the shooter may or may not have been Asian himself. And apparently he was holed up in a van and possibly shot himself today. So we don't have to really worry about him being on the loose, but still it's interesting how the script flips almost as soon as the actual.
So this will be one that they don't talk about ever.
Probably not. Yeah. It says authorities don't know if a driver of a cargo van involved in a standoff in Torrance, California is linked. I think this was a couple hours ago because last I heard it was linked. Is linked to the Monterey Park mass shooting LA County Sheriff Robert Luna said. I want to address also that there is a tactical incident that is occurring in the city of Torrance that is being covered. People have asked, is that your suspect? We don't know. He knows. He fucking knows.
He knows.
He continued, as I have said earlier today, we have had a vehicle that was described as a white box van. I guess you would say a van of interest. And there is a van that looks just like what was described to us in the city of Torrance. It is a barricaded suspect situation. We are working with one of our partner agencies in Torrance to resolve that. We believe there is a person inside of the vehicle. We don't know what their condition is, but we will handle that in the safest manner we possibly can. All right, where's the talk about the actual shooting? Because this is just talking about the cargo van.
Right, yeah.
It says the attack happened at a dance studio near the Lunar New Year Festival celebration. So it wasn't actually at the celebration.
And it was a dance studio, not a dance club.
Yeah, that's
weird.
There's a lot of weird shit going on here. Shortly after the attack, a group of people disarmed a gunman who showed up at a studio in neighboring Alhambra. Officials are still investigating whether the two incidents are linked. So it's really bizarre. There's another gunman shows up at another dance studio, and the people disarmed him. But there's also this guy in this box van. A lot of unanswered questions there.
That is weird.
I'm trying to find the actual. So here's the image of the shooting suspect. Now, I'm not going to speculate. Here, can you see?
Yep.
I'm not going to speculate that man is Asian, but
it's an interesting hat.
That man is very Asian.
He is very Asian.
So I had seen a thing that's like, well, it's not white supremacy, but we can't really rule out that this was a hate crime because who does this without? That's what we've been fucking saying. They're all hate crimes. You don't go shoot a bunch of people without a little bit of homegrown hate in your heart.
I was gonna say, if you're loving on people, you usually don't pop them.
Right. So it's just like, well, this is clearly a hate crime. Well, no shit. You killed a bunch of people.
They're all hate
what
crimes.
else would it be?
Right.
The LA County Sheriff's Department has released photos of the suspect in the mass shooting. Sheriff Luna tweeted photos of the man and noted that investigators identified him as a homicide suspect who should be considered armed and dangerous. Let's see. This is the standoff of the van. Here talks about Stop AAPI Hate calls mass shooting in Monterey Park a nightmare. Yeah, it's a nightmare for them because now they got to redirect their story. It's like one of us is killing us.
Yeah.
Stop AAPI released a statement following the mass shooting in Monterey Park that killed 10 people Saturday night, calling it a nightmare. After a day of celebration, we are waking up to a nightmare. This is devastating beyond words, the coalition said. We cannot imagine the pain that so many families are experiencing. At Stop AAPI Hate, many people on our staff know this community well and feel connected to it. Our hearts are with loved ones and all those whose lives were taken, those who were injured, and the countless others who were shaken by fear, and no one should have to had experience. The tremendous act of violence on one of the most important days of the year for many Asian Americans, at a place where Asian American families come to gather and celebrate, is sending shockwaves through our community. As we struggle to process the pain, we must also work to prevent this from ever happening again. Stop AAPI Hate describes itself as a national coalition addressing anti-Asian racism across the U.S. While police have not disclosed any motives for the attack, it has been felt deeply in the Asian American community. The city is home to one of the largest Asian American Pacific Islander communities in the U.S. I don't know. This just keeps going and going. There's not a lot of details besides there was the shooting here.
Right. It doesn't really give time or, what kind of weapon was used or anything like that.
I had read something that was just like, well, I didn't see what the guy looked like, but I did know he was using a firearm. Well, it's a mass shooting. What else was he fucking using? Yeah, I haven't seen anything about a gun. Okay, so here's the official story. This is what I was looking for, and you have to scroll all the fucking way down to find it. So this was 4 hours and 24 minutes ago is when this was released.
Oh.
A gunman killed 10 people at a dance studio in Monterey Park, California. Here's what we know. Probably nothing. Authorities are scrambling to find a gunman who killed 10 people Saturday night. So it was last night, I guess, as the city's largest Asian American community was celebrating Lunar New Year weekend. Another 10 people were wounded and hospitalized. Here's what we know. The shooting happened at 10:22 local time at a dance studio near a Lunar New Year celebration in Monterey Park, according to the sheriff's department. Monterey Park in LA County's San Gabriel Monterey Park is in LA County's San Gabriel Valley. Star Ballroom Dance Studio, which a CNN analyst identified as a specific venue, is located on West Garvey Avenue between Garfield and Alhambra Avenue communities. Now, was it in the dance studio? Because what the hell is a dance studio doing open at 10:30 at night?
Right, unless it was some kind of like get together.
Yeah, maybe something shady was going on there that we don't know about.
Right.
5 men and 5 women were killed in the shooting. At least 10 others were wounded. So the same exact stuff. Early information suggests the shooter may be an Asian man between 30 to 50, the sheriff said, adding the witness providing varying descriptions. Authorities did not specify the type of weapon used in the attack, but they did not believe it was an assault rifle. It's too early to say what the massacre was, if the massacre was a hate crime, because the motive remains unknown, obviously, because it wasn't a white dude.
Right.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be too early to speculate.
It'd
that.
be all over the news.
Then it talks about a gunman showing up at a dance studio in neighboring Alhambra 20 to 30 minutes after. And the sheriff said the investigators are looking into whether the two incidents are linked. That just seems very specific.
Right. Yeah. Right.
To not be linked.
Yes.
The sheriff said a group of people managed to disarm the gunman at the second studio. The man fled and authorities seized the weapon he had been carrying. The sheriff reiterated that it wasn't yet clear whether the man had any connection to the Monterey Park shooting. I'm gonna just go out on a limb and say it's connected.
Yeah.
The same night,
Yeah.
same kind of scenario.
Right.
Happens to be a dance studio. Did we ever stop and just throw out the possibility maybe he hates dancers?
Right. That's
Not
possible.
Asians, nothing to do
Right.
with Asians. Maybe he fucking hates dancers.
Yeah.
Maybe he was like turned down for an audition,
Right.
or he
Yeah.
couldn't get like some sort of like
Got made fun of.
twirly
or
jump down or
the
something.
dirty dancing move.
Yeah, I don't know. But it just, I've never heard of a dance studio getting shot up. And in this situation, it was almost 2 dance studios, but we don't know if they're linked or not.
Right.
Anything else you got on this one? Have you heard anything else?
I haven't heard anything about it, but like you said, it's just oddly specific. They definitely have to be connected. We probably won't hear a lot more about this unless we actually dig for it, because like you said, it doesn't fit the narrative at all.
Right. So let's move on to another interesting attack
In California.
Do you remember the Nancy Pelosi hammer time attack?
Oh, yes.
Paul Pelosi hammer time. You remember that, right?
Yes.
We did a whole episode on that. If you missed it, go back and listen, because we had all sorts of our own speculation on this whole incident, and it got really weird, really fucking fast. And it wasn't just us. It was the details got really weird, really fast. Like, oh, who's this random dude that's watching this whole thing unfold with Paul Pelosi and an assailant in his underwear with a hammer? Who's opening the door? Like, who was watching this whole thing unfold?
Right.
So Nancy Pelosi, who supposedly wasn't there.
Right.
I mean, she's been really shaken up by this whole event.
Of course.
It's traumatizing
How
event.
can she not?
Like, she's scared to go home at night. So,
and just within like what was it, 10 months of J6?
Yeah.
I mean, she's had a rough life.
It's been rough for her. Yeah. So, she decided she's tired of being scared in her own home. So she invited an exorcist to come and exorcise the demons out of her home.
The demons?
The demons. John Wood is here.
Oh.
John Wood says, "Death to disco." Is it disco dancing? I was picturing like ballet.
I was thinking like ballroom dancing, but maybe that's what we're missing. Maybe it is
maybe
disco.
it's the disco. Yeah,
And
that's probably it. Or maybe disco died, and maybe he's like a lover of disco, and he's like, y'all aren't real fucking dancers.
Right.
The real dance is disco, so fuck y'all. I mean, that's taking this as lighthearted as we, more lighthearted than we probably should. Anyway, back to Nancy Pelosi.
Thanks, John. It's my uncle.
Hey, Uncle John. Nancy Pelosi had a literal exorcism performed on the house after her husband's attack. Now, that just seems logical, right?
That's what I would do.
Now, the real weird thing here because it says former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi called in a priest to perform an exorcism at her San Francisco home, where her husband Paul Pelosi was attacked by 42-year-old David DePape. I forgot about him.
Yeah.
On
He's kind of
November 4th.
disappeared. You haven't really heard anything else about him.
So this is Nancy Pelosi's daughter talking to
Oh, okay.
the New York Times. I think that really weighed heavy on her soul. I think she felt really guilty.
Why would she feel guilty?
Why would Nancy Pelosi feel really guilty about the Hammer Time attack on Paul Pelosi unless she knew something that we don't know? Because
Right.
all the official story that we're listening to that they've been telling us says nothing she should be
Right.
guilty, except for the fact that she keeps leaving her husband and he keeps getting in these weird, creepy situations.
Maybe she told security to take the night off. right?
Maybe.
Nothing
she's-
interesting is going to happen, guys. Just go home.
Or maybe she was the one filming it. Can
Right.
you imagine that?
Yes, she answered the door.
She felt really guilty. I think that really broke her. Over Thanksgiving, she had priests coming, trying to have an exorcism of the house and having prayer services. While the official details surrounding the incident have changed several times, the last update came in a now retracted November report by NBC News correspondent Miguel Almaguer, who has been benched since the report. According to him, Paul Pelosi opened the door to the San Francisco home last month when police arrived. However, did not try to escape or alert police to an emergency and instead walked to the police and back towards the alleged attacker, David DePape. After a knock and announce, the front door was opened by Mr. Pelosi. So this is the report.
Yeah.
This is everything we just said. We don't have to.
Which the guy got in trouble for.
Yeah, that's what it said. He
Yeah.
got benched since then. So that's the latest story of this. But now Nancy Pelosi feels guilty and is calling in exorcists.
That's weird.
Nancy Pelosi, meanwhile, told the Times that having her home turned into a crime scene was unimaginable.
Really?
He's a strong person, athletic. He's great in the sack. This has been tough. I added that part.
I was going to say, holy shit.
I added that part for dramatization. Or that's the part they redacted. He's a stallion in the stack. This has been tough. It's going to be about 3 or 4 months before he's really back to his normal stallion of a man. She said of her husband, sort of. While telling CNN, I feel very sad about it because of what happened, but also more sad because the person was searching for me. Okay, there you go. That's why she supposedly feels guilty.
She wasn't there, and
I forgot. I forgot he was searching for
he
her.
decided to get it on with the husband because she wasn't there.
My dear husband, who is not even that political, actually, paid the price. Was the exorcist for the house or for Paul? I mean, that's the end of this. That's the end of the story. But I mean, that's just a weird response. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not Catholic, so I don't know.
Right.
But I feel like she's not that Catholic either.
No, she's not. And she's been, I mean, there's been a debate between U.S. bishops. They've talked about like kind of excommunicating her.
Mhm.
And so I'm surprised. So, I mean, maybe, I mean, she's okay with drinking the baby blood. It's when this guy breaks into their house with their husband that she feels guilty about.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because they may have damaged her stallion, her wild stallion. And then
Right.
she'll have to, I mean, it's really hard for a woman like of prominence like Nancy Pelosi to find another stallion.
Yeah. Well, not if she looks like she did in that comic book.
Oh my God. So you talked about drinking the baby's blood and all that kind of conspiracy theory type nonsense. Some conspiracy theories that circle our inner circle of
Mhm.
connections, like our people talk about,
Yes.
is that celebrities tend to engage in some sort of sex trafficking or pedophilia or
Yes.
I don't know, just vile, disgusting sex acts and stuff
Mhm.
like that. Well, we always get called crazy and stupid and conspiracy theorists. However, stories like this come out where Madonna, who is, I mean, has she been active? Is she still active?
Not really. I mean, I guess she's got a world tour coming up, supposedly.
Madonna
So,
has had some really weird stuff come out in the public in
Yeah.
the last couple months.
Yeah.
Like there was one where she came out as gay. All of a sudden, at like what 70 years old,
Right,
she's just
yeah.
like, "Hey guys, I'm gay," and everybody's like, "Who fucking cares? You're
Right.
70. Are you
Yeah.
okay?" And then there was one where she was did poppers right on
Yeah.
a freaking live stream, and she's just like doing drugs on a live stream, and they're like, and the lady's like, "Did you just do a popper?" She's like, "No," and they just kind of giggled about it, and it's just like, "Oh yeah, she just did poppers." Well, now Madonna is being accused in Malawi of child trafficking.
Hmm.
Now Madonna has adopted multiple children from Malawi,
Yes. Yeah. She has an organization.
and I find it really strange and creepy when these high price celebrities go to these really broke ass countries
Right.
and get these children, just buy babies or
Right.
something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I assume like they make it seem like, hey, so we just love the world and we love
Yeah.
we just want to help the starving people of other countries. It's like it's
Yeah.
probably just because you just like flash a couple dollar bills down there
Right.
and you don't have to go through the whole
Right.
bullshit process of
Yeah.
adopting that
They
you
don't
do here in the
care.
United
Right.
States. John Wood says, how does Paul get into the house walls around the estate and Secret Service protect and go home?
That was our big question when we did the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
And I don't know.
There was a lot of plot holes in that one.
There was.
So
Back to Madonna. This is from evmagazine.com. It says Madonna is being accused of trafficking and sexually exploiting Malawian children by a charitable organization known as the Ethiopian World Federation. Here's everything you need to know. So from what I can't read this whole article, but
Yeah.
it starts out, it's just like, oh, I see where they're going with this. Then it's just like, oh, okay, that's really weird. Oh, that's fucking weird.
right.
Because she's always been very promiscuous, I guess.
Yes.
Very
Yeah.
sexual, very anti-religious, very
Yeah.
pro like LGBTQ.
Right.
Well, Malawi is very much against all of those
Oh yeah.
things.
Malawi's very conservative.
So when I saw that, I'm just like, oh, they just don't like her because of all these things. So
Right.
I mean, that's like a woman in Middle East taking off her headscarf and they're like, she's a fucking whore. And it's
Right.
just like, now, is she exploiting children or
Right.
do you just not like the sexual of a person that
Right.
she is? And she happens to be buying children down there.
Right. Right.
It says pop singer Madonna is being accused of human trafficking and sexually exploiting children by a charitable organization known as the Ethiopian World Federation, according to All Africa. As stated on the Federation's website, the EWF is a civic service organization that pushes policies and advocates to change laws that harm all Black people. Madonna herself famously adopted 4 God, I can't get through a sentence tonight. Madonna herself famously adopted 4 children or bought 4 children from Malawi, a landlocked county located in southeastern Africa. In 2006, Madonna founded a charity called Raising Malawi, a nonprofit group that seeks to support orphans and vulnerable children, quote unquote, support them through health, quote unquote.
Yes.
Now, a person like Madonna, do you see her supporting health education programs of Malawian children?
I really don't.
The EWF is asking Malawi President Lazarus Chakwera to investigate Madonna's charity and restrict her and her associates' accessibility to Africa and to African children as precautionary measures until a thorough investigation is done into child trafficking, sex exploitation, sexual slavery, adoption reversal, threat of coercion, fraud, deception, abuse of power, and vulnerability.
Damn. That's a lot.
Throwing a lot of
right.
accusations out there. Madonna's 1992 book titled Sex was cited in the petition, which features adult content, softcore porn, and sadomasochism. Pornographic content and LGBTQ conduct is punishable by law in the country of Malawi. So I read that and I was just like, oh, I see where they're going.
Right.
They don't like her because she has all this quote unquote
Right.
pornographic content, and that's illegal in their country.
Right.
And she has all this stuff, yet they're still allowing her to adopt children.
Yeah.
It says gay porn stars were photographed in pornographic pictures with Madonna performing vulgar sex acts with the same sex, which should have been disclosed during the adoption case in 2006. It continues, Madonna had to sign a contract that forbade the book from including images of child porn, bestiality, and religious imagery. So they had to petition, like they had to force her to sign a contract. Like, when do you have to sign a contract for this stuff? If you didn't intend to put this stuff in there, it's just like, yeah, I'm going to put a lot of shit in there. It's going to include this, this, and this. Well, you can't do this.
Right.
So sign this contract.
Right.
Like I don't imagine it got brought up and they're like, well, we're going to have you sign this saying there will be no child porn or bestiality. And she was just like, why would I think of that? It's just like,
Right,
who would put that on a contract if it wasn't like an idea?
Right. Yeah.
Gross. I was grossed out with Madonna from the start.
Right. Yeah.
But this is gross. Anyways, it says shortly after signing that contract, Madonna founded a company called Maverick, a partnership with Time Warner. She now holds total artistic control over any work released by Maverick, who is the book's publisher. The agreement she signed with Time Warner with the sexually explicit content in the book, Sex, was now null and void. So now she can include child porn and bestiality. The petition argues that the psychology behind Madonna's ability to release child porn, religious imagery, bestiality, and vulgar pornography has prompted her to open an orphanage in Malawi named Raising Malawi to host social experiments on vulnerable African children in Malawi. This is the accusation now.
Okay.
Now they're saying now that she is open and doesn't have a contract forbidding her from child porn, she decided to open her own orphanage where she can have social experiments on our children.
Gotcha.
Again, I don't know if it's them just hating on her because of her lifestyle choices, but that's some pretty big accusations.
Yeah.
The group suggested that the singer is using her Malawian adopted son, David Banda, for sexual exploitation and social experiments. The petition cites the photos of David wearing women's clothes, makeup, and jewelry. The EWF also alleged that Madonna falsely claimed David's dad of being absent when she applied for his adoption. Madonna adopted more kids from Malawi after David. In 2009, after battling in court, the singer was finally approved to adopt Mercy James. Now, this is weird. Now, this doesn't go along with the sexual exploitation and stuff, but this is where this is the problem I have here. She adopted a set of twins, Esther and Stella, in 2017. The plea further states, we firmly believe Malawi has been robbed of its most precious resource, its children. 2013, the court accused Madonna of bullying state officials and making diva demands and citing her Raising Malawi charity as the reason for doing so. Okay, I guess that's not the weird one. This next one. Let's see. So it gets into this adoption for Mercy. It says Mercy's grandmother, Lucy, shared her heartbreaking side of the adoption process. Lucy placed Mercy in a local orphanage for care until her immune system improved, but never intended to permanently part ways with the granddaughter. Mercy's family said they would let Madonna adopt her only until she was of grade school age and that she'd return to Malawi every 2 years for visits. The Material Girl singer did eventually return to Malawi, but she never took Mercy to her grandmother, even though Lucy was reportedly at her deathbed begging to see her. Madonna's lawyers addressed the matter in 2011, admitting that Mercy's family had no legal right to see her.
Wow.
So, I have the situations in poorer countries where the families can't take care of the kids the way that they need to. So, they do send them off to like state-sponsored care or whatever. And the states being whatever, if they're, I don't know if they're corrupt themselves, if the orphanages are corrupt themselves, but somehow these celebrities come to these orphanages and they're like, I want to buy that baby.
Yeah.
And that baby was never up for sale.
Right. Yeah. It's like, no, you could rent that one, but you can't keep it.
So it's like child pawn shops is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's like, if you don't come back and claim your baby within X amount of days, we're going to sell your baby. Yes. So we have these celebrities going to these African child pawn shops and buying these babies at these baby stores. Not only do they get past all the adoption rules and processes of the United States, but they also have this major virtue signaling that they can tout to everybody. It's like, oh no,
they get off the plane with their new African baby.
Look, I got a black baby. I'm the great. And they're like, oh, look at Madonna and her black baby, or look at Angelina Jolie and her mixed race babies. And they are now saints, Saint Madonna, with her black baby. It says Mercy's biological uncle, Peter Benetti, signed the adoption papers after he and Lucy were told the little girl would be brought home regularly for visits. I was the one who signed off on the adoption papers. She told me herself she didn't want Mercy to cut ties with her roots, that she'll bring her home regularly. I don't know. There's all kinds of this shit. So what do you think of this so far?
There's a whole list of celebrities on the web who have gone and adopted African babies.
Well, yeah, and that's what gets
this
really
is like a
fucking
common
weird
thing.
to me. Yeah, it's really weird. It's just like, we got all these babies up for adoption here. Why
Yeah.
do you need to go to Africa and adopt babies?
Right.
And
Yeah.
why is it just celebrities that are doing it?
Right.
And you don't want us to raise all these conspiracy questions. Answer the fucking questions. Why are all these celebrities adopting African babies or
Yeah.
Asian babies or whatever? Do you believe the claims of sexual exploitation and child porn and stuff like that based on this story so far?
No. I possibly exploitation.
Based on what you know of Madonna, would you think it's possible?
Okay. There was an excerpt. I don't think it was in that. It's in that article where it says in the book Sex, she talks about how she likes to have sex with teenage versions. And so there was a feeling there that that's what they were scared of, is that she was bringing in these young boys to kind of like take their virginity, because that's her fantasy. And so that was one of the things that caught me in that article that I had read. So, and
That's
I think
gross.
I think she talks about it in her book Sex.
So knowing that about her,
Yeah.
would it surprise you if she was
Oh no, absolutely not.
trafficking children from Malawi?
No,
If she set up her own orphanage so she could go and do whatever unspeakable things,
right, or any other celebrity that might want to tap in there.
I didn't even think about that.
Right?
Maybe this is Madonna's Epstein Island.
Right? Yeah.
But now we're peddling off babies, not necessarily for sexual purposes, but for virtue signaling purposes, for whatever sick twist. Either way, it should be considered child trafficking.
Yeah.
If there's some form of like, hey, I didn't sign off on my kid getting sold over there.
Yeah.
I mean, we heard about it in Haiti happening.
Mhm.
We've heard it now in Malawi. It's happening in every quote unquote shithole country, that babies just go live with like some famous couple or some rich couple, and the parents are like,
where's our kid?
Yeah, I didn't sign off on that. I thought they were just going to the doctor, and all of a sudden my baby's halfway across the world.
Absolutely.
That is child trafficking.
Yes.
One way or another. I don't give a shit that, I didn't realize. There should be some sort of like the Child Protective Services here that looks into the adoptions over there before some dumbass celebrity comes trucking back to the United States.
But you
with
know,
black
I
baby in
mean,
arms.
and I'm not trying to cast stereotypes, but typically in those countries, I mean, the organizations are very corrupt, and it only takes a little bit of money to make people look the other way.
Right. And it seems like the more money you get, the more degenerate you can get, because you have money, and it's just like, okay, I'll just throw more money at it. I mean, we never talked to Andrew Tate for sex trafficking last month or in December.
Yeah.
What do you know about that? I know he was in beef with Greta Thunberg.
Right.
He had like a cam girls chat thing in Romania, and apparently he was sexually exploiting them beyond.
Yeah. I don't know much about him. I know
he played himself as a misogynistic asshole.
Right.
I know that much about him.
Kind of a poor man's Jordan Peterson.
I don't know if I go that far.
No, I don't know. But I know that he's gotten in hot water recently, because he's kind of come out talking about like governments and this world plan and all this shit. And so he had gotten kicked off Twitter. He had done like a sex tape, I think, and then from there it's gone into this sex trafficking. And Romania, they came in, they busted him out.
Did you hear how they found him?
No.
He was doing a live stream.
Oh, that's right. It was something in the room.
He had a pizza.
That's right.
That was very clearly a Romanian pizza company, and they're like, he's in the country, go get him.
Yeah.
And they found him, and they broke his ass.
Right.
So I don't know. A lot of people are speculating in that case. I guess he's had raids done on his home. Like, what do they call it? Where that you like in the middle of a live stream, you call and like send in the FBI. You've heard of that, right?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah,
like
right.
people playing in like online video games get pissed off at their opponent.
So
So
they
they
call-
call
yeah.
the FBI, and the FBI
Right. We got
raids
a
it.
hostage situation over at 315 8 Maple Street.
Well, apparently that's happened to him a couple times.
Yeah.
And so my first thought was somebody doesn't like this asshole.
Yeah.
So swatting, there you go. Thank
That's
you, Tiana Min Square. So yeah, swatting. He's said there's been several instances of swatting on his channel and to him. So part of me is like, somebody doesn't like him. He was in major beef with Greta Thunberg, who's like the world's like godchild,
right?
Untouchable godchild. Maybe somebody's like, we need to shut this guy up.
Right.
On the other hand, this guy, the persona this guy puts out, it would not surprise me if he was holding sex slaves in some Romanian hotel and forcing them to do acts on him.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you said, the persona he puts out there, the things that people know about him, yeah, absolutely. It fits in with that narrative perfectly.
Yeah. So let's see if it says anything about him. I mean, this isn't new news, but still.
Yeah.
I just find it
goes along with the Madonna thing a little bit.
Yeah, I find it interesting that this stuff is coming out right now.
Yeah.
Like there's these accusations. Do you think the Madonna one goes anywhere though? Because it's just Malawi, you know?
Yeah. Right. In the very least, I mean, I can see her, maybe not being allowed back into Malawi. But I don't see it going anywhere globally.
She'll pay off somebody to get back to Malawi and continue her.
Yeah. So no, it won't go.
Orphan peddling.
Right.
I don't know. Just the whole celebrity. I mean, if there's not some sort of celebrity like sex ring out there, I think that would be harder to believe than there is a celebrity sex ring out there. And I don't even think that's a conspiracy theory thing anymore.
No.
I think if somebody came out and was like, guys, all circumstances of all possibilities ever of any sort of celebrity sex ring out there, that's just false. We've proven this. And I think everybody, even non-conspiracy theorists, are gonna be like, yeah, you're fucking dumb. You're an idiot.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at the grand scheme of things, it is easier to believe that rich white people are going to third world countries to buy babies for whatever they want than there is not.
Yes.
Right.
And rich dudes and females are like buying teenagers for unspeakable sex acts too. Like, I feel like the Jeffrey Epstein thing kind of opened everybody up to that, because it was like underground talk. Hey, there's like celebrity. Have you heard of Epstein's Island? Nobody really, unless you were in like my circle,
right,
my type of people, had really heard too much of Jeffrey Epstein and Epstein's Island.
Yeah.
And then it happened and he was arrested, and I'm just like, oh shit, it's all coming out. It's all going to hit the fan now, and all this stuff's going to unfold. And this was right around the time Donald Trump was like, we're going to drain the swamp. We're going to expose this and that. And I'm like, oh dude, things are happening.
Right.
And then Jeffrey Epstein died. And then it's just like, okay, it's all back under closed, like sealed lips again. Yeah. Well, then they arrested Ghislaine Maxwell, and we're like, oh, okay, it's coming back out. Here it goes again, and she's probably gonna die.
Tom Hanks moves to Greece and all this other shit. And we're like, oh,
well, yeah, Tom Hanks, the whole Tom Hanks shit too. I mean, all these celebrities that like people like, oh, I love Tom Hanks movies, and I'm like, yeah, I love Tom Hanks movies too. But did you hear about Tom Hanks moving to Greece when Jeffrey Epstein was arrested? That's a little fucking weird, and there's a lot of weird stuff around him. Yeah. So it's really hard to watch Forrest Gump anymore, when you have these bizarre conspiracy theorist thoughts.
Absolutely.
But when Ghislaine Maxwell got arrested, we're like, oh, she's definitely making a deal. That girl's gonna roll so hard, or she's gonna die. One of the two. It doesn't seem like she's rolling though, because she just gave her first public from prison interview.
Okay.
She's been in prison since 19?
Yeah, I think so.
2020, 2019, somewhere in there.
2019, I think.
She has come out and spoke about the whole Prince Andrew rumor that you remember the photo? I think this photo right here. Prince Andrew with this Jeffries girl. Virginia Jeffries. She's the one that accused Andrew. She's one of the Epstein the people accusing Epstein and all this shit. She's one of the most like public, who's come out the most public. Well, Ghislaine Maxwell wants the world to know that she's not going to roll on people because she has said that photo is faked and photoshopped.
Really?
And she has no memory of that pair ever
Wow.
meeting.
Wow.
Never.
So they must have promised her a nice cushy room there at prison.
Right. Well, or she wants the royals to know,
Yeah.
I don't want to die. I'm not
Yeah,
going to
right.
roll on anybody. Just please don't kill me. Convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell alleged in her first jailhouse interview that the notorious photograph of Prince Andrew and Virginia Jeffrey at her London home in 2000 is likely a fake, claiming she has no memory of introducing the pair more than 2 decades ago. John Wood says Corey Feldman told everybody about the Hollywood sex ringers.
That's right. I was going to say that. He did. I remember him doing
He
this
did.
whole
He
thing.
did. Okay. We're running out of time, but yeah, we're getting all
I know
over the
you got
place.
ribs on the girl.
I do. I was highly disappointed by the Corey Feldman thing because the problem I had with it was it's just like, dude, just come out and say it. He
Right.
led up to it for years and raised like millions of dollars, and then it come out, and yeah, he did. I think there's more there that he's not
Right.
even saying or
Yeah.
willing to say. I think he was more in it for his personal
Fame. Right.
personal fame, personal recognition, or in the very least to like unload his own personal anguish,
Right.
like
Yeah.
he's doing this for him, whether that's a selfish thing or whether it's like, I got to get this off my fucking chest for my own closure.
Yeah.
It wasn't as much, hey, all this shit's going on with all these people.
Right.
It was more centered on Corey
'Cause
Feldman.
didn't Corey Haim come out and say that like he had gotten, I think he said he got like raped on the set of like Lucas or something.
Oh yeah.
And so
Yeah, well, he said Corey Haim did, and Corey Haim's mom came out and was like, no, that never happened. And so
Sure,
it's
parents
just a
always
lot
say
of
that.
fucking weird stuff
Right.
going on. We should talk about Corey Feldman sometime.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the Maxwell stuff. It says the Oxford-educated Maxwell, who is serving a 20-year sentence in Florida federal prison for her role in a scheme to sexually exploit and abuse multiple
why does
minor
it matter
girls.
that she's Oxford educated?
I don't fucking know.
That has anything to do with what
Yeah, because she's obviously smarter
right.
than
Yeah. She's-
Virginia Jeffries, who
Right.
is just, yeah.
Yeah.
The full interview is expected to air on Monday on Talk TV. In clips released as a teaser for the special, Maxwell, with a phone to her ear at FTC Tallahassee, speaks of Epstein. I feel completely divorced from the person that people reference and talk about in all the various newspaper articles and TV shows and podcasts. So she's like, that's not me, guys. That's
Yeah.
not me.
Right.
She also described the Duke of York as a dear friend who should be uplifted after Jeffrey dropped a separate sexual abuse lawsuit against American lawyer Alan Dershowitz in November. Jeffrey admitted in court documents that she may have made a mistake in claiming Dershowitz had abused her as a teenager. So, okay. I didn't hear this part that she had dropped the Alan Dershowitz part.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like Alan Dershowitz is somebody that you could be like, oh, I was mistaken. That wasn't Alan.
Right,
Have you
yeah.
seen his fucking teeth?
Yeah,
You
right.
would not forget that
Right,
man's
yeah.
face. Her story, frankly, has changed multiple times. It's very hard to know really what's true or not, Maxwell said. And adding that the true story has yet to unfold. I have no memory of the meeting, and I don't think the picture is real, Maxwell added of the photograph. There's no original of that photo, only copies of it have been produced, copies of copies. Parts of it, according to some experts, look like it has been photoshopped. I don't remember her in my home. I know that Virginia traveled with Jeffrey, and so it's entirely possible, but the photo doesn't appear to be real, and I don't recall it being taken. I mean, that's really easy for somebody that's
Yeah,
like, if I
right.
say the wrong thing, I'm
Yeah,
going to fucking
right,
die.
Yeah.
There's a reason why it's called being Epsteined.
Right.
She
yeah.
doesn't want to be
Epsteined.
Epsteined.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's very convenient that she doesn't
And
doesn't
whenever
remember.
somebody uses those words, I have no memory.
No
of-
recollection
no
of
re-
it.
yeah,
I
it-
don't recall
It
it.
takes me back to the Oliver North
It doesn't
days.
appear to be real. Yeah, it's very legalese
Yeah,
type
right, yeah.
type wording that she's saying. Well, it's fake, Maxwell said. I don't believe it's real for a second. In fact, I'm sure it's not. And okay. And if you look at it, it is starting out like it doesn't appear real. I don't recall if it happened. It is fake. I don't believe it for a second. In fact, I'm sure it's not. It's like it
escalated
escalates
quickly. Yeah.
from
right,
it doesn't look fake to I'm sure that's not real. you kind of see her processing through it. You see it on the police interviews, like type documentaries all the time, where like the defendant is sitting in the interview room and they're processing through their lies, and they're like, no, I don't recall. No, actually, I'm absolutely 100% certain I was. It's just like, if you, as a matter of fact, are sure it was not, you would have led with, I'm sure it's not. Well, looking at it from first glance, it doesn't look real.
Right.
And I've heard that parts of it, because didn't it say like, I've heard parts of it, according to some experts, look photoshopped.
Right.
So not her saying, hey, that's clearly a fucking fake. It goes from, well, it kind of appears to be fake. In fact, experts say it's sort of looks photoshopped. In fact, I am 100% sure.
Right.
It's just like, come on,
whatever.
I don't want to die is what it sounds like
exactly.
to me. So it's interesting this is coming out. I really want to hear this full interview. It's probably, I hope it's as exhilarating as the Prince Andrew interview. Do you remember that when he was sweating?
Oh yeah.
Bullets.
Yeah.
Describing how that could have never happened because at the time he had a condition where he couldn't sweat.
Right. Yeah.
So I hope hers is that entertaining.
Right.
Other than that, we're about out of time. I did want to mention that some more, like the White House or Biden's team invited the FBI to come look in his house. We talked about the FBI files on Monday. So just a brief update. The FBI went and searched because they are supposedly, quote unquote, invited by the Biden staff, and they found more documents. So there's more documents there. More of them were classified documents as well.
Yeah.
So that's unfolding. Now, one thing we didn't cover that was brought up on Newsmax that I didn't even consider when we did our episode is apparently, presidents, like, you remember when he was saying about Donald Trump, he's like, I do take some papers home and they're locked under, and then we hand them off to the military, and they take them back where they're supposed to. If I'm doing my presidential work, sometimes they need classified documents.
Right.
Apparently that doesn't apply to vice presidents, though.
Yes.
Apparently.
And it's interesting because Trump said that at the beginning of it, and nobody even latched onto it. It just kind of like,
I hadn't even heard this.
Yeah.
Apparently, Representative Donalds, I don't know who that is, Byron Donalds, told Newsmax that's a pretty big fucking deal.
Yeah.
So it says the fact that classified docs were found in President Joe Biden's home and former think tank office, including in an FBI search of his home this weekend, is enough to implicate him on violating the Espionage Act, no matter what the intent is, if they were moved before he took the oath of office to become president. To be blunt, so this is Byron, Representative Donald says, to be blunt, I really don't know where we go from here. We said from the beginning, a former vice president or anybody else has no ability to remove classified documents. Former presidents like Trump, although, are different, and because as the head of the executive branch, they have the ability to declassify information and classify information, Donald said. We know former presidents take documents. The National Archives know that they take documents, and that's something that's consistently occurred, no matter who the occupant of the White House was. But Biden's situation is very different. This is more akin to Hillary Clinton, where there are violations of the Espionage Act because they removed classified information from secure facilities. The intent is irrelevant. What you've done with it is irrelevant. For example, he said, if someone in the military removes classified information from a secure facility, that's a very serious issue, as it would be for someone who is not a politician at a high level. The American people need to understand it's not just what was by the tailpipe next to Biden's Corvette, but instead about what documents were, or when the documents were removed. Any documents he removed before he took the oath of office to become president of the United States is a violation of the Espionage Act. The Espionage Act was listed in the Justice Department's warrant on the raid in the Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate, according to the National Constitution Center, noting the warrant cited Section 793 of the Act, which deals with gathering, transmitting, or losing of national defense information. Biden's documents were reported and turned in by attorneys, with the FBI's only search of his property taking place Friday. Unlike with Trump's Florida residence, the FBI did not have a warrant to examine his home as the president voluntarily allowed the search. So, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds pretty damning to me.
Yeah.
The one thing I would ask is, what if it was Obama that had the documents moved to Biden's house?
Yeah, prove that though, because
Well, I know there's got to be some kind of release out there somewhere.
well, yeah, because there's nothing,
Yeah.
sort of supposedly no sort of like communication,
Right.
like tracking of
Right.
how this got here. So, and it's never going to come back on Obama
No.
because then they're going to be like, oh, fucking Obama's an idiot too.
Right.
So from what this guy's saying is this is actually more consistent to the Espionage Act than Donald Trump's was.
Right.
So I don't know where to go with
and
that.
based on that, I mean, that makes sense. Who's going to push the issue? I mean, will the Republicans push the issue and be like, look, this is a violation of the Espionage Act?
I think they will, and I think it'll go nowhere.
Yeah.
It'll just be a way for them to get literally nothing done.
Right.
And the debt ceiling will continue to collapse, and laws will continue to be or not be made, and they just won't do their job. And all they will do is focus on this for the next 2 years
And then
because
the Democrats will get pissed because they're like, look, guys, we set it up for you. Get him out of the office.
right, exactly. Why is he not gone? Yes, exactly. So I just found that an interesting
Yeah, that is.
caveat to what we were talking about on Monday. So
Yeah.
a little bit of an update there. Otherwise, we got sex trafficking in the news. We've got Ghislaine Maxwell in the news. We got
Shootings,
riots. So yeah, just again,
It's like
another
a-
typical day in America.
Exactly.
Anything else? I think that about wraps it up.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Make sure you share us far and wide. We got to get out of here because I got ribs.
And these
I
guys-
just want to make you jealous for a third
Right,
time. I got ribs on the smoker. And I don't want to burn them because I'm looking forward to them. So make sure you check us out all over the social medias. You can find us all over Facebook, Instagram, and not Snapchat. What the fuck?
Wow, Snapchat.
Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Yes.
Where'd that come from? God. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and not Snapchat at Break the Bell Pod. Like, subscribe, share, all that fun, happy stuff we tell you to do so we can break the algorithms and we can feel good about ourselves. Be back here tomorrow night for our main episode, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, where we just get to hang out for 2 hours and talk about something. I don't know yet,
Yeah.
but it's going to be
Something good.
something.
It'll be
Something.
good.
It'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be deep.
And it'll be fun, and we'll probably look like assholes doing it because that's what we do. Make sure you check us out. Like I said, that's 7 p.m. every Monday night, Central Standard Time. Otherwise, we've got our morning show, which is Tuesdays and Thursdays when we feel like it. The Two Scoops morning show with me and my brother Dan Smots of the System is Down podcast. Otherwise, be back here next weekend and we'll just wrap up another week and we're just going to have fun no matter what we do. So come
Absolutely.
do all those things. Have a great rest of your weekend, whatever's left of it. Make sure you get out and enjoy the lack of sunshine, the cold and the snow and the depression and despair because that's what's going on right now.
Wow.
Have a great rest of your weekend. I'm going to go eat ribs. Goodbye.
Thanks.
The Break the Bell podcast is brought to you by you. So pat yourself on the back because without you, we would be talking to ourselves. A special thanks to our Patreon members, Justin Zielinski, Remzo Martinez, Stephanie Parker, and T.O. Jacobson. A shout out to our sponsors, Run Your Mouth Coffee, the On the Run podcast, and Goulash Media. If you'd like to help support us, visit patreon.com/breakthebell or buy our garbage at breakthebell.bigcartel.com. Get back here next week and let us continue to invade your ear holes. And as always, never stop talking.